Assistant Professor at IT/ICT Department of LJ Institute of Engineering and Technology. Welcome to the video lecture series of subject Software Engineering. In previous lecture, we have learned about requirement specification and analysis, right? So we have already discussed about what do you mean by SRS document, what is good in SRS document, okay, and also about how to write a SRS document. Now in today's lecture, we are going to cover a different topic, that is formal requirement specification, right? So let's start with the today's lecture. So first topic is formal specification. Now what do you mean by formal specification, right? So formal methods means formal languages are there. For an example, English language, Gujarati language, Hindi language. So there are formal languages, but we know that computer and software always understand a technical terms, right? So formal software specification is a statement expressed in a language whose vocabulary, syntax and semantics are formally defined. Okay, so whose semantics, syntax and vocabulary are formally defined, that are known as a formal software specification. Okay, and it is need for a formal semantic definition. That means that the specification language cannot be based on the natural language. That means all the languages are not in a English, Hindi or Gujarati or any other language. It is completely based on mathematics, right? So it must be based on mathematics. So it is a mathematical method. It is used to specify a hardware or software system requirement. Okay, so when you are going to write a document regarding what are the hardware requirement and what are the software requirement, then you have to define in a formal specification, right? So in a formal method, in a formal language. Okay, so natural language are not considered for returning any SRS document or requirement specification document. Okay, so you need to use a mathematical language or mathematical method to specify a hardware or software system requirement. Okay, so the main goal of formal specification is to describe the external behavior without describing or constraining implementation. Okay, so what is actually performing, it is not in a focus, but how your system is externally behave with other system. That is the main goal of formal specification, right? So I hope you will understand about what do you mean by formal specification. Now next is what are the advantages. Okay, so by using a formal specification, it will provide you insight and understanding of the software requirement and software design. Okay, so what actually customer want from the system in a technical term, that is clearly defined by using a formal specification, right? So it will provide insight, that means in a deep. So insight and understanding of the software requirement and the software design. Then it may be possible to prove that a program conforms to its specification. That means if you have written any program, so it will confirm you that this particular requirement is given by the customer and this will perform this particular action. Okay, and then formal requirement specification may be automatically proceed. Multiple times there may be a scenario like it will be proceed automatically. Okay, so there are software tools that can be built to assist with their development, understanding and debugging. Okay, so there are multiple tools are available and you have to give some instruction to that tool. Okay, so it will automatically perform some development related activity, some debugging related activity and some understanding of fundamental things. Okay, so this is also advantage of formal specification. Then formal specification are mathematical entities. So as we have already discussed, it is a mathematical method. Okay, so formal specification are mathematical entities and may be studied and analyzed using mathematical method. Okay, so there are some calculation and based on that calculation you can define hardware and software requirement. So formal specification may be used as a guide to the tester of the organization or of the company of component in identify appropriate test cases. Okay, so by using a formal specification, any testing team can easily coordinate which kind of test cases they have to prepare and what kind of test they have to perform, right? So this is all about the advantages of formal specification. Okay, also it have some disadvantages, so let's discuss disadvantages. So all the requirements cannot be specified by the formal specification. For an example, if you want to perform some informative website, right, so it is not mandatory like each and every application or each and every software are converted to the formal specification, because in formal specification there is a mathematical methods are there. Okay, so you need to convert your natural language into the mathematical manner. Okay, so many times it might be possible like all the requirements are not specified by the formal specification, then it is also use of mathematical sound to represent requirement. So only those requirements they can converted into the mathematical terms, that requirements are only considered in this formal specification, and it is very difficult to learn and use, because as a human person you are only understand any particular language, like whether you are aware with the English language, Hindi, Tamil, Marathi, Gujarati. Okay, so there are different language we can coordinate it. Okay, but we cannot coordinate with any mathematical term, right? So it is difficult to learn as well as it is difficult to use, and cannot specify very complex problem. Okay, so if you have a complex problem or if you have a software that have a complexity in that particular software, then don't use this formal specification, because it is a very crucial task to convert each and every requirement into the formal specification, because you have to convert all the natural language into the mathematical term, right? So this is all about the disadvantages of formal specification, right? So let's discuss about what are the types of formal specification, right? So there are mainly two types of formal specification. First is a property oriented and second is a model oriented. Okay, so the name itself suggests property oriented, that means requirement have some properties, so it state desired properties in a purely declarative way. So you are identifying properties for each and every requirement, and in property oriented there are two topics, that is axiomatic specification and second is a algebraic specification, right? So that we will learn in a next slide. And second type is model oriented, that means it provides direct way of describing system behavior. Okay, so you can draw a class diagram, you can draw a DFD diagram, you can draw sequence diagram, activity diagram and so on. Okay, so that is model oriented. So you are drawing some diagram to show the flow and to show the behavior of your system, to show the description of your system, right? So that is model oriented. But another is a property oriented, in which you are declaring the purely declarative way. So you are declaring property in a clarity way. Okay, so that is property oriented. So now in today's lecture we have also discuss about what is axiomatic specification and what is algebraic specification. Okay, so let's start with the first topic, that is axiomatic specification. So basically it use a set of stateless function. Okay, so there is no state defined in that function, so that means it is a stateless function. So each function has a set of pre and post condition. For an example, if you are preparing for the registration page, okay, so there are preconditions, like you have to enter your username, you have to enter the password, then you have to select the contact number and remaining features. Okay, so that is the precondition. What is the post condition? Post condition means it is satisfied after operation is invoked. That means if I am clicking on the submit button, then it will check for the validation whether I have declared a correct email ID, whether I have declared correct contact number or not. Okay, so that is my post condition. So axiomatic specification, basically it is used as a set of stateless function in which each function has a set of precondition as well as a post condition. Okay, so pre and post condition are predict over the input and output of a function. So what amount of input and what amount of output are generated, that is completely based on your pre and post condition, right? So predicated is a Boolean expression. Okay, so it defined like a predicate is a Boolean expression which is true or false. Okay, and whose variable are the parameter of the function being specified. Okay, so whether you are specifying in a precondition or post condition, it will return a value in a either true or false. So what will be my precondition? So it will must satisfy before operation invoked. That will be the precondition. Okay, and what do you mean by post? So it must satisfy after the operation involved. So for declaring any axiomatic specification, what are the steps? So next topic is steps of axiomatic specification of a function. Okay, so for declaring any axiomatic specification, so you have to first establish the range of input and output. So establish the range of input parameter over which the function is intended to behave correctly. Okay, and it specifies the input parameter. So first step, you have to clearly mention what are the input parameters. For an example, if I am clicking in a login in my Gmail account, so my input parameter will be like my username, that is my email address, and my password. Okay, so that will be my input parameter. Then second step is you have to specify predicate defining a condition which must hold on the output of the function if it behave correctly. Okay, so then you have to mention what action should be performed if I have entered a correct username and password. So it will specify a predicate defining a condition. So that will be my post condition. Okay, so in which it must hold on the output of the function if it behaves correctly. So if I have entered my correct Gmail and my password, then it will log in into my Gmail account, right? So that will be my output. Now the third step is you have to establish what changes are made to the function's input and output parameters. Okay, so if any changes is required, then what amount of changes and what kind of changes you are applied for input and output. So if you change in any input, so what reflection is done in a output. So that you have to establish. That is the third step. Okay, and the fourth step is you have to combine all these pre and post condition for the function. Okay, so these are the four steps for declaring any axiomatic specification. So first step is we have to establish a range of input. So what are the input parameters? Second is you have to predict the output parameters. So if my input is correct, then what will be the output? So that is the second stage. Third stage, I have to establish a change. Okay, so if I change in an input, so what will be the reflection in an output? So that will be the third step. And fourth is then I have combined all the pre and post condition. Okay, so these are the all four stages of axiomatic specification. Okay, so now let's understand this axiomatic specification with a proper example. Okay, so here question is given. Example is you have to consider a search function. Okay, so you have already learned about the binary search and a linear search. Okay, so here you can consider a search function that accepts an array of an integer. Okay, so it is a list of array and all the values are in an integer data type. Okay, so an array of integer and some integer key of its parameter. Okay, so if you want to search something, so you have to provide a values as well as you have to provide a key. Okay, so key of its parameter. Okay, and the array members are sorted in an increasing order. So that means it is a linear search. Okay, because it is in a linear search, there is a precondition like your array should be in a increasing order only. Okay, so that is increasing order. The function return the array index of the member of the array whose value is equal to that of the key. Okay, so if I have an array of multiple integers value, so I will give an index value to each and every values. Okay, so if I am performing a search operation, so after search operation as an output, it will give me what is the actual index of my key. Okay, so for an example, my array consists of 1 to 10 values, starting from 1, 2, 3 and up to 10. Okay, so my index position is start from the 0. And if I am searching for the 5 numbers, okay, so 5 at the position of 6 index. Okay, so it will return me a 6 answer. Okay, so the function return the array index of the member of the array whose value is equal to that of the key value. Okay, and the original input is unchanged. You cannot allow to change your input because it is a linear search and precondition is your array should be in a sorted order. Okay, so the original input is unchanged. Okay, and if the key is not matched, so it will return an array index that is one number larger than the array maximum index. Okay, so if I am searching for the 11 number and it is not in my array, so it will return me the next number index. Okay, so it is larger than that particular array maximum index, right? So this is my question. Now you have to define all the conditions. So how can you define axiomatic specification in mathematical term? Okay, so it is a natural language. Now you have to convert this natural language into the mathematical methods. Okay, so let's convert this natural language into the mathematical terms. So first, what is my specification? My specification is I have to create one function. So function, and the function name is search, because I have to search any key or I have to search any values in that array. So function search, in which I have to provide my array, okay, list of array. So that is my x, and it is an integer array. So that's why I have mentioned here x colon integer, because x is my array list and it consists of all the integer values. Okay, so it is an integer array, right? And then I have to provide a key value. So here I have provided my list as well as a key. So what kind of key I need to search? Okay, so there are two parameters, and it will return me an integer value. That means it will return me an index of key. So that will be my specification, right? Now what will be my precondition? So precondition means if the key exists in first to last, in between first to last number, that means if my array consists of 10 elements, so first element is first and last element is 10, right? So in between 1 to 10, whatever the element is, and I am searching for that particular element, so my condition is true. So if my key is exist in first, between first to last, so it will send me x of I equal to key, and for all I am checking for the loop. So that's why I am writing here for dash all I j in x first and x last. Okay, so every time my key is j and my value is I, so I am checking I equal to j or not. Again I am looping for, so I will increase, so it will send to my second position, so I equal to 2 and j equal to my key. Again I equal to 3, so it will check for each and every numbers. Okay, so if I less than j, so it implies x of I less than equal to x of j. Okay, so that will be my precondition. Now what will be the post condition? Post means it must be satisfied after operation invoked, right? So post condition is I am searching for a key, so x double has, so x double dash that refer to the value of an array x after the function has been evaluated. Okay, so that's why I am mentioning in a post condition, that is x double dash. Okay, so x double dash, then in bracket I have provided my search element. So in search function I have to provide my list as well as a key. So x is my list and key is my parameter, what parameter I want to search for it. Okay, so that is my key and equal to key. So if I get that point, it will return me the index value. If I will not get, so it will return me the next value. Okay, so and x equal to x double dash. So this is my pre and post condition. Now what will be the error? So if my search element is not in my list, then it will show me the error. But here we have already mentioned, like if the key is not matched, then it will return an array index, that is one number larger than the array's maximum index. Now my maximum index is 9, because 0 to 9, that is 10 element, so it will return me 10. So that's why error mathematical method is here. So here in error I have mentioned that in a search function I have provided x, that is my list of integer array, comma key element. Okay, and if it is not matched, then it will return me a 1 plus increase of the last index. Okay, so x dash last plus 1, so that means 9 plus 1 equal to 10. Okay, so this is the way you can convert your natural language into the axiomatic specification. Okay, so here they will give us a proper definition. What is the precondition, post condition, you have to mention here. Okay, so based on this problem, you have to define all these mathematical term, right? So this is all about the axiomatic specification. Now the last topic is about algebraic specification. So what do you mean by algebraic specification? So in algebraic specification technique, an object, class or type is specified in terms of relationship existing between the operation defined on that type. Okay, so here object and class fundamental concept are considered in a algebraic specification. Okay, so it will show us the relationship between existing of operation. Okay, so here we have used some heterogeneous algebra, and then it has some 4 parts. So it contains 4 parts. First part is a type section, in which you have to mention a data type. Second is a exception section, in which you have to define if any error occur, then what will be the output. So exception condition you have to mention, then syntax section, so here procedure signature is mentioned, and last is the equation section in which you have to define all the rules for your equation. Okay, so here in algebraic specification you have to declare these 4 parts, that is type section, exception section, syntax section and the equation section. So for better understanding, let's take an example. So here example is given like you have to consider a point. That point is a data type and you have to create x coordinate and y coordinate, okay, so that you can draw a point, okay, and if it is equal then you have to draw some line. Okay, so this is my problem. Now let's convert it in a algebraic specification. So in algebraic we have already discussed there are 4 parts. Okay, so first is a type section. So first you have to define a types. Okay, so you have to define point, and for point it uses boolean or integer. Okay, either true or false or an integer value. Okay, so my type is definition point and it uses boolean and integer. Now next is we have already discussed exception section, but here in our problem there is no any exception. Okay, so it is a optional. So if you want to declare, then you can declare in a exception, but if you want to skip this section, you can skip it. Okay, so exception condition occur during operation. If it is occur, then you have to mention in a exception section, but here there is no any exception, because if you have mentioned x coordinate and y coordinate, it will draw a point. Okay, so there is no any chance to arise any problem or any exception, right? So we'll directly move to the syntax section. Now you have to provide a syntax. So for that you have to create a coordinate, okay, and coordinate are a form of integer values. So create integer cross integer, that is a point, okay, and for x coordinate point and that value is also integer. For y coordinate you have to declare a point, that is also integer data type, okay, and if it is equal then you have to mark this point and point, so that will be a boolean, so whether it is a true or false. Okay, so that is my syntax section. Okay, now what will be the equation? So equation here is x coordinate, so it will create xy equal to x coordinate, y coordinate, so it will create a y coordinate, and then if it is equal, so it will create x1 y1 and create x2 y2. Okay, so this is all about the equation, so that you can draw a point and you can drag that particular line between 2 coordinates. Okay, right? So this is all about algebraic specification. Right, so this is all about what is formal specification, in which we have discussed about the 2 methods or 2 types, that is property oriented and model oriented. Property oriented means it will declare a property in a clearly way, okay, clear declarative way, okay, and in model it will show you some diagrammatical way. Okay, in property oriented we have discussed about 2 other topics, that is axiomatic specification and the second is algebraic specification. Okay, so that's all for the today's lecture. Thank you.